Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll. And before we even get into extracting today's legacy code, I just want to give a quiet, genuine thank you to a fellow traveler, Cindy Pom, over on MSN.com's Newsthink channel.
Oh, yeah. Her piece was fantastic.
It really was. I mean, her insightful framing on the rise of a certain tech titan, it's what actually set the spark for this entire stroll we're taking today.
It absolutely provided a brilliant foundation for the patterns we are about to pull apart.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, let's establish our mission right up front. We are not here to just summarize a tech biography. As the mentor of the Antaryami VA Academy, I want to make sure we pass this information directly through our digital prism.
Right, because we're here to extract the actual legacy code of Project Antaryami.
Exactly. We are auditing how massive digital architectures evolve from, a single line of thought into global infrastructure.
And as the architect of Antaryami, my focus during this Gurukul session is the human operating system running underneath all that machinery. As the wisdom seeker, I'm looking for the behavioral patterns, the philosophy, and, well, the deeper why behind the data.
Which is crucial because we are looking at a staggering paradox today.
We really are. I mean, think about this. In September 2025, Larry Ellison actually surpassed Elon Musk to become the richest person in the world.
Which is wild.
Right. He hit a net worth of $393 billion. Yet, if you step outside of tight tech circles, hardly anyone even knows his name.
Let alone the fact that his company, Oracle, is quietly positioning itself at the absolute center of a future where everyone on Earth could be under constant surveillance.
Yeah, that's the part that really shifts the paradigm.
And that is exactly why this matters to you. Because understanding Ellison's digital migration, from this scrappy adopted college dropout to basically a cloud computing prophet, it reveals the blueprint of how our modern digital infrastructure was actually coded.
And how our societal future is being coded right along with it.
Exactly. So let's start right at the foundation, the human origin story.
Well, the foundational code of Larry Ellison's life is really rooted in profound displacement. He was born in New York to a 19-year-old mother, and his father, who was an Air Force pilot, just vanished entirely.
Just left.
Just left. So he was sent to Chicago to be adopted and raised by his aunt and uncle. But the crazy part is he was completely shielded from that reality.
Wait, he didn't know?
He had no idea. He didn't even know he was adopted until he was 12 years old. And he found out because his adoptive father just casually mentioned it over a meatloaf dinner one night.
Oh my God, just over dinner.
Yeah. Think about what that does to a person's baseline reality. The central truth is who you are, who your parents are, is suddenly revealed as a complete fabrication.
It has to initiate an immediate, lifelong search for identity and really for control.
Exactly. And you see that disruption play out in his early education. He goes to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. He absolutely hates the exams, and he drops out after 2 years when his adoptive mother passes away.
And then he tries physics, right?
Yeah, at the University of Chicago. But he drops out of there, too, blaming a short attention span.
Though, to be fair, the University of Chicago wasn't a complete dead end. That is where he learned basic programming.
Right, he discovered a natural fluency for it. But beneath that newfound skill was this immense reservoir of self-doubt.
Because of his father.
Yes. In Matthew Simon's biography, Software, Ellison admits he was completely haunted by his adoptive father's constant claim that he would, quote, never amount to anything.
When you are trying to write the operating system for your life and your primary authority figure tells you the core system is just doomed to fail, you face a binary choice. You either crash or you rewrite the rules completely.
And his rewrite begins with a physical migration. In 1966, he packs up and drives out to California.
Right. And he spends the 1970s just bouncing around, doing systems programming for IBM on the weekends. But as a strategic auditor, I look at the real structural pivot happening when he becomes the VP of Research and Development at a small tech company called Omex.
Because that's where he really rejects the corporate structure. Yeah.
Exactly. This is his migration away from bureaucracy. He looks around Omex and realizes his senior managers are entirely conformist. They are terrified of making decisions.
They're just managing the status quo.
Right. And he realizes he is simply better at solving problems than the people supposedly in charge.
That realization is what triggers the entrepreneurial leap. So in 1977, he's 34 years old now, he teams up with two former colleagues, Bob Miner and Ed Oates.
And they form software development laboratories.
Which eventually becomes Oracle. And their first major break is winning a bid to build a database for the CIA.
a highly sensitive intelligence project that was literally codenamed Oracle.
Yeah, but they hit a massive architectural bottleneck pretty fast. Contract programming is exhausting.
Oh, absolutely. Ellison is grinding, 80 hours a week? And he realizes a fundamental rule of scale. You cannot achieve true digital migration if you are trading time for money.
Hourly billing just does not scale.
It doesn't. You need a product you can build once and sell infinitely. And he actually finds the blueprint for that product in a groundbreaking paper by IBM researcher Edgar F. Codd.
The relational database paper.
Yes. And to understand why Codd's paper was such a revelation, you really have to understand how databases worked before it. They were hierarchical, very rigid.
Right. Imagine a physical corporate filing room.
Exactly. If you wanted a specific piece of information, you had to walk down a very specific hallway, open a specific cabinet, and look in one specific folder.
And if you wanted to cross-reference data from two different departments.
It was a manual, agonizing process. You'd have to pull from both and combine them yourself. But Codd proposed organizing massive amounts of information into separate tables that could dynamically relate to one another.
So instead of walking down a rigid hallway, a relational database is, it's like a digital loom.
A digital loom, exactly. You can take completely isolated threads of data and weave them into a usable tapestry instantly. You could ask a computer, hey, show me all orders in the last month from customers in Chicago who spent more than $500.
And the machine just connects the customer location table to the purchase history table and weaves the answer together in seconds.
But at the time, IBM and everyone else thought the hardware was just way too slow to run those kinds of queries commercially.
And that perceived impossibility is exactly where Ellison's psychology thrived. He didn't see a technical limitation at all. He saw an open lane with zero competition.
Okay, hold on. I want to push back on this narrative of him being a pure, flawless visionary here.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's look at the actual release.
All right.
In 1979, they put out their first commercial product, and they brand it Oracle version 2.
Right.
There was no version 1. They just skipped it so corporate customers wouldn't think they were guinea pigs.
It's a bold move.
But is labeling an untested product version 2 actually a brilliant piece of legacy code for survival, or is it just classic early tech vaporware? Isn't he just faking the architecture?
See, I think it is a brilliant psychological bridge. And it stems directly from Ellison's philosophy on risk.
How so?
He explicitly stated that he liked the fact that building this database was considered risky. Because the bigger the apparent risk, the fewer people will actually try to go there.
So it thins out the competition.
Exactly. Labeling it version 2 wasn't about faking the software. He knew the code worked. It was about hacking human behavioral patterns.
People fear being first.
Right. They fear adopting untested infrastructure. By calling it version 2, he neutralized the corporate fear of the unknown. He gave them permission to cross the bridge into his new architecture. And because they were alone in building it, they captured the entire market.
And they captured it aggressively, which frankly initiates the stress test of this entire system. Oracle's hypergrowth in the 1980s is legendary.
Oh, it was explosive.
They go public in 1986, and Ellison vows to double revenue every single year. And astoundingly, from 1985 to 1990, revenue explodes from $24 million to $916 million.
But that velocity without guardrails completely warps a company's culture. Oracle became incredibly reckless.
I mean, they were running marketing ads depicting their database as a fighter jet, literally blowing a rival company's biplane out of the sky.
Rashness became the most prized quality at the company, and when aggression outpaces your internal infrastructure, well, the system is inevitably going to break.
And the break happened spectacularly in 1990. Oracle faces a massive accounting scandal.
Right, the paper revenues.
Yes, we have to look at how this actually worked. The sales teams were under so much pressure to hit Ellison's double targets that they started booking revenues before deals were even closed.
So if a client said they might buy software next year, the sales rep would just log the revenue today to hit their quarterly bonus.
Exactly. It inflated the numbers entirely on paper. And when reality finally caught up to the ledger, Oracle reported its first ever quarterly loss of $36 million.
The stock collapsed by 80%.
They were literally days away from bankruptcy.
But this is where we see the raw survival instinct override the CEO ego, right? Ellison admitted later, he said, I couldn't run away. I had to save Oracle to save myself.
And it required a brutal correction. He ruthlessly restructured his entire creation.
What did he actually change?
Well, he fired the very executives he had promoted because they couldn't manage the scale. He laid off 10% of the entire workforce, 400 people.
Wow.
And structurally, he finally separated the accounting team from the sales team, ensuring that the people reporting the money weren't the same people incentivized to inflate it.
You really have to map this corporate near-death experience onto his physical reality during this exact same period.
You mean his accidents?
Yeah. In the early 90s, while he's fighting to bring Oracle back to financial health, he is simultaneously fighting for his life after 2 catastrophic accidents.
Right, the surfing one.
Yeah, he broke his neck, body surfing in Hawaii, missing total paralysis by millimeters. And then he smashed his arm in 28 places, crashing his bike at 25 miles an hour in Napa Valley.
28 places from a bicycle crash? That is brutal.
These encounters with mortality just bred a ferocious restlessness in him. His friend Steve Jobs once observed that Ellison ended up doing things in his 40s that most people do in their 20s. He just happened to have infinitely more resources to do them.
Which means fleets of racing yachts, private jets.
A personal life that included 6 marriages. And to find some semblance of calm amidst all this chaos, he spends a fortune building a 23-acre estate in Woodside, California, meticulously modeled after a 16th century Japanese emperor's palace.
Okay, wait, I have to interrupt you there, because this is where the behavioral profile completely contradicts itself for me.
How do you mean?
You are painting a picture of a guy who shatters his bones, seeking thrills, building emperor palaces, living like this billionaire playboy.
Yeah.
But this is the exact same guy who calculated the cold-blooded firing of his own president and COO, Ray Lane, in the year 2000.
The vacation firing.
Right. Lane was running the day-to-day operations and casually mentioned to the press that he was getting a, quote, CEO feeling.
And Ellison did not like that.
Not at all. Ellison's response was to wait until Lane went on vacation, strip him of his power over the phone, and take back total control of Oracle. How do the adrenaline junkie and the calculating, ruthless executive exist in the same skull?
Because they aren't different personas. They are driven by the exact same operating system. It's the absolute refusal to cede control to anyone.
Okay, I see that.
The yachts, the jets, pushing his physical body to the breaking point. That is Ellison exerting total dominance over his physical environment because he answers to no one.
So firing Ray Lane is just that same impulse?
Exactly. Applied to his corporate environment. The moment someone else felt like the CEO, Ellison perceived a threat to his sovereignty. He did not build Oracle to share the crown.
And honestly, that tight, paranoid grip on the wheel is precisely what allowed him to foresee the next great digital migration.
You're talking about the 1990s.
Right. In the 90s, the dominant paradigm was the personal computer. If a company wanted Microsoft Word, an IT person had to manually install it via floppy disk or CD on every single desktop in the building.
Which was a nightmare to scale.
A total nightmare. So in 1995, Ellison stands up and publicly mocks the PC. He calls it a ridiculous device.
Because his vision was that you should be able to plug a screen into a wall to get your data the exact same way you plug a lamp into a wall to get electricity.
Right. He unveiled the network computer. The idea was this small, inexpensive machine that didn't run complex programs locally, but pulled them seamlessly from centralized servers.
Which is basically the philosophical birth of what we now call cloud computing.
Yes, but the hardware itself was a massive failure.
Because the internet couldn't handle it yet.
Exactly. Internet speeds in 1995 were agonizingly slow. Dial-up connections just couldn't handle pulling robust applications over a network. Meanwhile, the price of traditional PCs was plummeting.
And timing was off.
Right. And from an auditing perspective, I look at the network computer as a premature deployment. I mean, in the digital economy, being 10 years early is often financially indistinguishable from being completely wrong.
Well, in the short term, you're right. But in Gurukul 2.0, we have to observe the long arc of the timeline. The physical product failed, but the prophecy was entirely accurate.
He just had to wait for the bandwidth to catch up.
Exactly. He saw the future architecture clearly, and he just waited for the world to catch up to him.
And when bandwidth did catch up, Oracle didn't just try to build a new cloud from scratch. They executed a massive acquisition strategy.
Throughout the 2000s, right?
Yeah, Ellison spent billions buying up rival software companies. Oracle was no longer just a database company. They owned the plumbing for HR, payroll, and billing systems for giants like JPMorgan Chase, Netflix, Zoom, Airbnb.
They embedded themselves in everything.
And then in 2012, Oracle forced a massive migration. They shifted all of these critical, deeply embedded business applications into the cloud. He locked in the enterprise layer of the global economy.
Which really set up his endgame.
Yeah.
Even after formally stepping down as CEO in 2014, he remained Chief Technology Officer.
Right. As a 41% owner, his hands have never actually lifted the keyboard.
Which brings us to the present day, and really the most critical phase of our digital stroll today.
The AI infrastructure.
Yes. We have to examine what Oracle is building right now and the profound implications it holds for human society.
Well, Oracle is currently laying the tracks for the new world. They are quietly inking deals worth hundreds of billions of dollars to supply the raw compute capacity required by artificial intelligence companies.
Like OpenAI.
Exactly. They are the ones building the physical infrastructure behind OpenAI's Stargate project.
And that's a massive undertaking.
It is a proposed $500 billion effort to create the world's biggest AI data center network. And when we say $500 billion, we aren't just talking about buying computer chips.
No, we are talking about securing massive tracts of land.
Developing cooling systems that defy modern engineering. They are literally negotiating with nuclear power plants just to provide enough electricity to keep the servers from melting down.
The scale of that compute power is wild, and it really presents two radically different futures for humanity. Let's examine the utopian promise first, specifically in healthcare.
Okay, what does that look like?
Ellison envisions a system where AI fundamentally transforms the timeline of human suffering. He believes AI will analyze a simple blood test to detect cancer at its microscopic genesis.
Catching it before it even forms properly.
Right, and once the tumor is identified and gene sequenced, the AI instantly designs a personalized mRNA vaccine tailored to that specific patient's biology.
And then they combine that with robotic manufacturing.
Exactly. A custom cancer vaccine could be synthesized and ready for the patient in just 48 hours.
Wow. It completely shatters the paradigm of waiting weeks for lab results while a disease spreads.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is. But as strategic auditors, we have to examine the shadow cast by this architecture, because that exact same computational power, capable of sequencing a tumor in seconds, scales seamlessly into the realm of a total surveillance state.
Yeah, that's the darker side of the code.
Ellison has openly envisioned a future where AI helps authorities sift through endless streams of non-stop footage, captured by street cameras, dash cams, security networks.
Because his stated belief is that, quote, citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
It's just chilling.
It is the ultimate manifestation of his lifelong need for control, now projected outward onto society at large. A world where everyday life is recorded non-stop and an unblinking artificial intelligence analyzes every single movement.
And we are already seeing Oracle step into the role of societal curator. Let's just pause and look at the friction of what happened with TikTok.
Oh, right. The U.S. operations.
Yes. Under a deal heavily pushed by the Trump administration, Oracle was selected as TikTok's trusted technology provider in the United States.
To oversee the algorithm.
Yes, their mandate is to oversee, host, and manage the TikTok algorithm for American users. Think about how strange that is. A B2B enterprise software company, the people who manage corporate payroll and supply chain logistics, are suddenly overseeing the algorithm that dictates viral culture, news, and political discourse to half the country.
It's a massive shift in cultural power.
Now, as curators of this Gurukul session, I want to be explicitly clear. Our mandate here is impartial execution. We are neither endorsing nor condemning President Trump's praise of Ellison, whom he called the CEO of everything.
Right. We are remaining entirely objective here.
Absolutely. We are also not taking a political stance on TikTok's operations or even the ethics of state surveillance. We are strictly auditing the architectural reality.
And the reality is what?
The reality is the company that already holds the world's business data is now curating a dominant social media algorithm while simultaneously building the physical AI data centers that could monitor our physical reality.
It is the final, sweeping synthesis of Edgar Cod's digital limb. But instead of just weaving together corporate purchase orders and customer locations,
it weaves together everything.
Yes. The relational database of the future weaves together our blood work, our algorithmic social media consumption, and our physical movements under the gaze of a camera. All connected, all queryable.
Synthesizing this entire stroll, the sheer scale of the migration is breathtaking. From a scrappy startup writing a $500 database query for the CIA,
to a $393 billion architect of global AI infrastructure.
At 81 years old, Larry Ellison still operates on a very simple piece of legacy code. I rest, I sprint, I rest, I sprint again. It is the ultimate algorithm for sustained digital endurance.
As we conclude this session, I want to leave you with a final Gurukul 2.0 reflection to ponder on your own time.
What's the question?
Ellison believes that a world where everything is recorded will force citizens to be on their best behavior. But if human beings only act morally because an artificial intelligence is constantly watching them, does that elevate our society's ethics, or does it completely destroy the very concept of genuine human morality?
A vital question for the architecture ahead. Thank you for joining us on today's Digital Stroll. Keep observing the codes running the world around you, and we will see you on the next path.